ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः ध्यानयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः। Blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, "He who performs his duty without expectation of the result is a true renunciate or a true sannyasi and also a yogi, not those who are inactive and who do not perform rituals or yajna by lighting the fire." Yam sannyāsamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sannyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. That which is called renunciation, know that to be yoga, O Arjuna. One cannot become a yogi without giving up selfish wishes, also called as sankalpa. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamuchyate. For a sage or muni wishing to climb on the peak of yoga, action is said to be the cause. But for the same sage, when he is seated high in yoga, peacefulness is said to be the means. Yada hinendriyartheshu na karmasvanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudhastadochyate. When a man has no attachment either to sense objects or karma actions and has renounced selfish wishes, sankalpa, then he is said to be seated high on the peak of yoga. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah. One should raise one's self by the self, and one should not let the self fall down. Indeed, you alone are your own friend, and you yourself are your own enemy. Note, self here can mean the soul or the mind. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. The self is a friend for one who has conquered the self by himself, but the self is an enemy for one who has not conquered it. Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayohu. One who has conquered the self and is peaceful realizes the supreme self or Paramatma within him. Such a person treats as same or treats equally heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor. Jnana vijnana truptatma kutastho vijitendriyaha yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloshtashma kanchanaha. One who is satisfied in knowledge and wisdom, one who is seated immovable, one who has mastered all his senses, for whom a piece of earth, a stone, gold are one and the same, he is said to be a yogi. Suhran mitrar yudasina madhyasthattvesha bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papeshu Samabuddhir vishishyate. One who treats impartially or has equal regard for his loved ones, friends, enemies, strangers, mediators, haters, relatives, and also the good people and the sinners. He is said to be a supreme yogi. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha. A yogi should concentrate and constantly engage himself in yoga. Sitting alone in a secluded, secret place with his mind and his self-control, free from hope and greed. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya sthiramasanamatmanaha natyuchritam nati nicham tailajina kushottaram. Having established himself in a pure place, situated on a fixed seat of his own, which is not too high nor too low, and covering the seat with cloth, a black antelope skin or deer skin, and kusha grass one over the other. Tatraikagram manah krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavishyasane yunjyat yogamatma vishuddhaye. There, concentrating the mind so it's pointed in one direction, controlling the mind, senses, and action, having seated steady on his seat, he should practice yoga for the purification of the self. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan nachalam sthiraha sampreksha nasikagram swam dishaschanavalokayan. Holding his body, head and neck straight without moving and being steady, eyes focusing at the tip of his nose and by not looking in any direction. Prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrite sthitaha manah samyamya macchittaha yukta asita matparaha. Remaining peaceful and fearless, firm in the vow of celibacy or brahmachari, controlling his mind fixed on me. A yogi should sit having me as his supreme goal. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samstham adhigacchati. In this way, concentrating continuously on the self, the yogi whose mind is controlled attains peace and goes to the supreme nirvana that stays in me. Natyushnatastu yogosti na chaikanta manashnataha na chati swapna shilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. O Arjuna, indeed, yoga is not for him who eats too much, nor for someone who does not eat entirely at all. It is not for someone who has habit for sleeping too much, or for someone who is awake all the time. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Yoga becomes the destroyer of pain and miseries of a person who is controlled or moderate in eating and relaxation, who is moderate in performing actions, who is moderate in sleeping and walking. यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा. When a person's subdued or controlled mind is fixed on the self, free from longing for things that are desirable, then that person is said to be united in yoga. Yatha deepo nivatasthaः negate sopama smruta yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanah. Just as a lamp does not flicker in a windless place, in the same way the yogi with his mind controlled practices yoga focusing on the self. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. When the restless mind is kept under control by practice of yoga, when one sees the self by the self, he is satisfied or content from within. Sukhamatyantikam yattat buddhigrahyamatīndriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam sthitaschalati tattvataha. He finds infinite joy or endless happiness which is grasped by intelligence, but which the senses cannot understand. Knowing this, he remains fixed in reality or fixed in truth. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Having obtained such a state of happiness, he thinks there is no greater gain beyond this, and established in this state, he is not shaken or he is not moved even by the greatest sorrow. Tam vidyat dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sanyitam sanishchayena yoktavyaha yogo nirvinna chetasa. That which separates from being united with pain or sorrow, know that to be yoga. This yoga should be practiced with firm determination and with a mind which is free from despair. Sankalpa prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvana sheshataha manasaivendriyagramam viniyamya samantataha. Having completely given up all the heartfelt selfish desires or sankalpa and controlling all of the senses with the mind on every side, shanai shanai ruparamet buddhya dhritigruhitaya atma samstham manah krutva na kinchidapi chintayet. Little by little or gradually, one should hold back intellect by means of firm determination. With mind fixed on the self, one should not think of anything else. Yato yato nischarati manaschancalamassthiram tatastato niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. Every time the restless and wandering mind becomes fickle and unsteady, one should restrain the mind and bring it under the control of the self. Prashanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahma bhutamakalmasham. A yogi whose mind is peaceful and calm attains supreme happiness. When his rajasa nature or nature of passion is controlled, he goes to the eternal Brahman, which is free from any sin. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. In this way, a yogi constantly practicing yoga with his self united in yoga, with all his sins destroyed, he easily enjoys the infinite, endless bliss or happiness of the eternal Brahman. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. One whose self is fixed in yoga sees himself in all beings, and all beings he sees in himself. He sees the same everywhere. In other words, he sees equality everywhere. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me never loses me, and I do not lose him. Sarvabhutasthitham yo mam bhajatyekatvamasthitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. One who is established in all beings worship me as if I am the one who is present in all beings. Even if the yogi exists anywhere, he will reside in me. Atmaupam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. O Arjuna, whoever sees the same likeness of himself everywhere in all beings, who sees equality in everything, whether in happiness or pain, is considered to be a supreme yogi. In other words, a supreme yogi sees happiness and pain of others as if they were his own. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. Arjuna said, O Krishna, this yoga of evenness of mind or calmness of mind that you have taught me, I do not see it. Due to the fickle nature or restless nature of the mind, I cannot see any firm stability in this yoga. In other words, Arjuna says that this yoga is very impractical to follow because by nature mind is restless and unstable or fickle. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadrudham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. O Krishna, the mind is certainly restless. It is also impulsive, reckless, fickle, strong, and difficult to bend. I think it is very difficult to control the mind, just as the wind is difficult to control. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate. Blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, without a doubt, the mind is very difficult to control and is restless. But mind can be held under control by constant practice through discipline and by detachment. असंयतात्मना योगः दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुमुपायतः. In my opinion, this yoga is hard to attain for someone whose mind is uncontrolled. But for a person whose self is controlled, this yoga is attainable through effort and proper practices. Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopetah yogat chalitamaanasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kam gatim Krishna gacchati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what path is taken by a person whose mind is not controlled, but he possesses faith? With his mind wandered away from yoga and failing to obtain perfection in yoga, to what destination does such a person go? Kachinno bhaya vibrashtaha chinna bramiva nashyati apratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmana pathi. Fallen from both the paths, is he destroyed like a torn, scattered cloud, unstable and confused in the path of the Brahman or eternal. Note, fallen from both paths that Arjuna here refers to is path of Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, that is action and meditation. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण छेतुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य छेता न ह्युपपद्यते. This doubt of mine, O Krishna, I request you to resolve or dispel completely. Indeed, there is no one other than you who can destroy this doubt of mine. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschit Durgatim Tat Agacchati. Blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, in this life or in the next life, there is no destruction for such a person who fails in the path of yoga. Surely anyone who performs good does not walk on the path of sorrow or misfortune, my friend. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashwati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga bhrashto bhijayate. Having obtained the worlds of virtuous and pure, it can also mean Devaloka. Having stayed there for everlasting years, the one who fell from the path of yoga is reborn in a pure and prosperous home. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrusham. Or else, one who has fallen from the path of yoga may even be born into a family of wise yogis, but such a birth is extremely difficult to obtain in this world. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyah samsiddhav kurunandana. There he recovers the knowledge gained from his previous body, and with this he again continues for the perfection of yoga. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate yavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Indeed, due to the previous practices from previous body, he is automatically carried away to the path of yoga. Just by being a seeker of yoga or by just wishing to know yoga, one goes beyond the word Brahman or goes beyond Vedic rituals. Prayatnadyatamaanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah aneka janma samsiddhah tato yati param gatim. With great perseverance or determination, a yogi engages on the path of yoga and he is purified from sin. Fully perfected through many births, he finally reaches the supreme goal. Tapasvibhyo dhiko yogi jnanibhyo bimatodhikah karmibhyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. A yogi is greater than the ascetic or tapasvi. It is my opinion that yogi is also superior than the wise or a knowledgeable person. A yogi is also superior than those who perform actions and Vedic rituals. Therefore, become a yogi, O Arjuna. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. And among all the yogis, I consider to be the greatest yogi of them all, whose inner self abides in me, one who is full of faith towards me, and one who worships me with undivided devotion. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Dhyana Yoga Nama Shashtodhyayah.